going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. Today at the request of Zerolo, we're covering a deity that I've wanted to cover on this channel for a long time, especially given when exactly the request came down. We're cracking open our copy of Inner Sea Faiths, and we're going to cover ALSETA. If you guys like what you're seeing, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're proud to announce today we've got a brand new patron. Today, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by Daniel Smith. Daniel, thank you so much for your support, and hey, check that Patreon inbox. You've got an invite to our Discord. ALSETA covers a lot of different themes that we see on planet Earth. She fills a unique role as intermediary between the gods, not unlike Hermes from Greek mythology. And hey, you know, we covered Hermes not too long ago on this channel. If you'd like to see our homebrew of the Greek messenger god, follow this card right up here. But in addition, you've got doors, hidden passageways, the flow of time. She's a really unique goddess. We could say Kronos as a god of time is a little more up her alley, but really, I'm having a problem calling her out as any specific real-world deity for the first time in my time in Pathfinder. So yeah, if you think you know what ALSETA is as far as a real-world equivalent, throw it in the comments, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm drawing a blank on this one, so getting right underway. In Pathfinder, ALSETA acts as the guardian of boundaries. She strengthens city gates, shields guards, and turns away unwelcome visitors. She's also a guardian of metaphorical boundaries, particularly those related to time and life. Those celebrating birthdays or marriages or embarking on new ventures often invoke ALSETA'S name, as well as expectant mothers and mourners of the dead, because ALSETA the Welcomer is the goddess of literal and metaphorical transitions. Doors, hidden passageways, and the flow of time all fall under her purview. She fills a unique role amongst Galerion's gods, not only serving as their steward, but also acting as an intermediary, both among the respective gods and between the gods and their followers. ALSETA'S dominion over doorways and thresholds also makes her the goddess of teleportation and planar travel, and it's in this aspect that many elves revere her as the patroness of the Ayudara, or elf gates, which allowed Galerion's elves to reach Galerion in the first place from the planet Castrovel. Yeah, do you know that? That's where they came from. ALSETA treats all beings with respect and in turn enjoys reverence from members of nearly every faith. ALSETA appears as a kindly human woman dressed in simple gray clothing, and she wears a smiling mask on the back of her head. She is even-tempered and considers her words carefully. When she speaks, she does so with an authority and poise that soaks into the very bones of listeners. Above all, ALSETA is courteous and treats beings from the humblest peasant to the mightiest of the gods with respect and civility. In return, she expects the same from any who deal with her and has little patience for those who do not practice such courtesies. Those who earn ALSETA'S favor find that physical blockades often open easily to them, or that metaphorical obstacles melt away more easily than expected. They uncover new opportunities in unexpected places and receive flashes of insight that illuminate options that otherwise wouldn't have occurred to them. Those who displease the goddess find themselves barred at every turn, or feeling as if they were stuck in ruts. Oh, just like me. Doors jam when being opened and swing loose to admit drafts when they should hold fast. ALSETA is lawful neutral. Her domains are community, law, magic, and protection, with the subdomains arcane, defense, home, and inevitable. Her favored weapon is the dagger, and her obedience requires us to find a physical boundary between two places, such as a doorway, a bridge, or even just a line drawn in the sand. Kneel with your back to this boundary and contemplate all the ways your life has changed during the previous day. This could be as simple as a new person you met in passing. Stand, turn, and step across the boundary while chanting a prayer to ALSETA. On the other side, kneel and meditate on the transitions and changes that await you in the coming day. At the end of this meditation, out of respect for the transition to the new day, vow to perform a mundane task in a distinctly different manner during the coming day than you have done previously. In return, you gain a +4 sacred bonus on disable device checks to unlock doors, and a +4 sacred or profane bonus on perception checks to detect secret doors. This bonus, of course, determined by your alignment. Evangelist boons grant us Hold Portal 3 times a day, Knock twice a day, or Glyph of Warding once a day. At level 16, ALSETA'S smiles upon your attempts to clear away obstacles that would hinder travelers' passage. You don't risk triggering a trap while attempting disable device checks unless you fail a check by 10 or more, rather than by 5 or more as normal. If the trap is part of a door or archway, or is otherwise triggered by passing through a door or archway, you gain a +4 Sacred or Profane bonus on your disable device check. At level 20, you have an uncanny knack for acting as a holy gatekeeper against those who would stand against you. 3 times per day, you can use Pass Wall as a spell-like ability. When using this ability, you also conjure a strong wooden door with a hardness 10, 40 hit points, a break DC of 30, at one end of the passageway produced by the spell. The door has a lock requiring either a plain iron key, which magically appears in your possession, or a successful DC 30 disable device check to open. You can also conjure the door so it comes into being already unlocked and open. Exalted boons grant us Alarm 3 times a day, Arcane Lock twice a day, or Greater Stunning Barrier once a day. At level 16, you have a deep understanding of your goddess's connection to teleportation. Once per day, you can use Teleport as a spell-like ability. When you use this ability, increase your familiarity of your intended destination by 1 step. So a place you've viewed once becomes a place you've seen casually, a place you've seen casually becomes a place you've studied carefully, etc. Using this ability cannot result in a mishap. If you roll a mishap on the spell's table when determining how well the teleportation works, treat it as a result of similar area. At level 20, the Welcomer trusts your judgment enough to grant you powerful magic to keep your enemies at bay. Once a day as a standard action, you can bar all creatures from passing through a specific door or entrance within 30 feet of your position. This functions as the spell Anti-Life Shell, except that it functions on all creatures regardless of their type. Ooh, nice, that's pretty cool. This effect lasts a number of rounds equal to your hit dice. If a creature trying to penetrate the barrier has spell resistance, you must overcome that resistance in order to keep it out. You can use your hit dice in place of your caster level on this spell resistance check. Sentinel boons grant us Line in the Sand. Hey, that's good for your obedience, right? 3 times a day, Mirror Image twice a day, or Countless Eyes once a day. At level 16, you catch glimpses of the future that allow you to avoid your enemy's strikes. You gain improved Uncanny Dodge as a rogue of a level equal to your hit dice. If you already possess the improved Uncanny Dodge ability, or if you would gain it later, you instead gain a +2 Sacred or Profane bonus on attack and damage rolls against creatures that are currently flanking you. Not bad. At level 20, once a day as a standard action, you can transform an open door or archway into a temporary one-way portal, connecting it to another open door or archway of your choice that you have seen or which you have a reliable description. The portal functions as Greater Teleport, targeting any creature that passes through the first doorway until the end of your next turn. All creatures that pass through the doorway, up to the limit imposed by the spell and your hit dice, arrive at the same location, and the destination must include an open door. So yeah, these are all at least kind of playable. I don't like being flanked. I don't know about you guys. I'll take a +2. And an anti-life shell at level 20, not so bad. And if you're in the Exalted Prestige class, you get it that much faster. Seems good. Now, of course, ALSETA is one of Paizo's gods, and she is lawful neutral, so she does in fact have her own Paladin code. It goes as such. Doorways are sacred boundaries and should be respected. I will not transgress across the threshold of an occupied structure uninvited unless doing so serves the glory of ALSETA or is necessary to prevent a great evil from taking place. The Sovereign Stone is a blessing from the goddess and is the beating heart of the elven people. I will defend it with my life. So right there, if you're going to be worshipping ALSETA, you're heading to Kyanin. And if you want to learn more about Kyanin, follow this card right up here. We'll tell you all about it. The Ayudara are sacred relics and should never be used lightly. It is my responsibility to preserve the knowledge of the keys to these gates and ensure they do not fall into the wrong hands. Not bad. Now, for me personally, as a human being, transition has always been a little hard for me. I'm a guy that gets stuck in his ways really easily. I'm a guy who does what he wants because that's what he wants to do. So that said, a god who's all about change is not really up my alley, but at the same time, change is a thing that has occurred recently in my life on pretty dynamic scales. If nothing else, a year ago, I never thought I'd be a YouTuber with a respectable Patreon. Maybe I'm not super famous yet, but hey, we're working on it. And a couple thousand people, or just shy of, that get notifications on their phones saying that, hey, Tommy Gaddy's put out another video, and in that sense, and in the spirit of the fact that life is constantly changing, I think I could worship ALSETA, although I feel like it would be kind of a lay follower lip service kind of thing, and not necessarily a real zealous relationship with religion. like we might see for some of the other gods, but there's nothing wrong with that. And if I were to have a player want to worship Alseta, well, for one, we're probably going to Kyanin, we're probably going to fight Tree Razor, we're probably going to protect the Sovereign Stone, hey, maybe we're even going to Castrovel. That'd be super sweet. Hang out with the Lashunta, they'll talk about us behind our backs to our faces with their telepathy. If you don't know what a Lashunta is, you go ahead, follow this card right up here, we'll get you caught up. But actually, it's kind of ironic that this god got requested, because Alseta was requested the night that we learned in Rise of the Rune Lords over at the Inn of Planar Crossroads played a role in that campaign where two characters are concerned. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because it's a thing that happened and we didn't see it coming. It has nothing to do with Rise of the Rune Lords. I will say, for anybody out there who's played Rise of the Rune Lords, it was definitely a lot of homebrew content, definitely a lot of crazy stuff, but it was there. And literally right after that session ended, I saw I had a comment that said, hey, cover Alseta the Welcomer, and here we are. Alseta is a very, at least in my opinion, a very vague god, a very, like, the rest of the gods are here, and they're super powerful, but also, Alseta's here as well. Transition can also be a big theme in your campaigns. Players and NPCs alike both eventually do die of old age. The campaign's mood certainly changes as time goes on. And I guess it's kind of comforting to know that there's somebody watching overhead saying that transitioning is okay, and things will eventually, like, move over to a state of being and you'll be happy again, and then when the transition comes again, with Alseta's help, you're a little more prepared for it, and boom, I've just written your campaign by, like, half real talking. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm gonna leave it, I guess. What do you guys think about Alseta? Would you guys worship her? Have you used Alseta in your campaigns? And Adam Spain, if you're watching, why Alseta in Rise of the Rune Lords? I'm genuinely curious. And hey guys, you know, as of this moment, we've announced that, follow this card right up here, our next giveaway is live. We're giving away a copy of Fantasy Grounds Ultimate Edition. Never have I ever had anybody in my life play Fantasy Grounds as their choice of virtual tabletop and not like it. I personally was bought it by a patron. I haven't really got a chance to mess with it yet, but from what little I've seen, it looks super sweet, and hey, we'll take care of it for you. One copy covers you and all of your players. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, where we cover, by very popular request from several people, Jeff, if you're out there, now's your time, Callistria, and it drops next Wednesday.